Timers are your best friend. You do have a built-in timer on your clock app on your phone, and you can utilize that to start, but I do like to use an app called Focus Traveler. It is free to use and it helps me set small chunks for specific tasks. For example, sometimes it's really hard for me to do specific tasks. Putting away laundry, getting the laundry done, cleaning, starting a long-form YouTube video edit, or anything that just feels big and massive. When I get onto Focus Traveler, I set these timers into much more manageable chunks. For putting away laundry, 5 minutes. For starting a YouTube video editing timeline, 15 minutes. For cleaning up my room, maybe 10 to 20 minutes. Almost always, I find that I almost either get done the entire task at hand within these timers, within the set timer that I put in, or I am just so in the zone that I want to continue and keep going because it made it more fun and doable and manageable. But by also setting these timers, it helps me to not go overboard or lose track of time. For instance, I need to be able to have all my meals at a normal time during the day, but I also when to stop working, when to work out, when to stretch, when to take care of myself, etc. However, when I don't use timers, I definitely fall off track, end up overdoing it or working to some godly insane time, which is something I don't want simply because this ends up spilling into the rest of my day, which ends up spilling into the rest of my week, which ends up making me even more sleepier and more fatigued, which is something I definitely do not want. Therefore, timers are simply just a must for me. I will not lie though, I definitely do fall off track and sometimes don't use my timers at all, but this is how I navigate the rest of my week when I simply do. Using in between moments. What I mean by that is we all have a break between bigger tasks, and while most people end up scrolling on social media to make themselves feel better, I don't. Instead, I work on something very small in these moments because essentially they make me feel good. These are called small wins, which is nothing new. We all know what small wins are. And these come up again when I'm feeling super tired during the middle of my day or my energy just doesn't feel great because they help me get back to myself. There are so many studies and findings out there that quite literally say small wins give us dopamine, and dopamine is good. It gives us a natural energy boost. That is because dopamine is essentially a motivation molecule. Therefore, there is quite a lot more power and a lot of power in these small wins and in these small moments and using your small moments wisely. Here's an example of an in-between moment in my life. I'm waiting for my food to heat up. I'm making myself some tea. I just have 10 to 15 minutes of a break before I start something new. In those moments, I could be checking emails. I could be writing an email that I absolutely have to write. I could be sifting through the good product photos that I've taken and the bad ones. I could be editing photos in Lightroom Mobile. I can be scheduling posts for my social media. Essentially, there's just a lot of smaller tasks and smaller wins I can accomplish in these in-between moments because they not only make me feel good, but they also accomplish another thing off of my to-do list and make me feel productive. I've noticed that there's a very common problem though. The number one problem most people have is not starting or waiting too long to start. The greatest mindset shift you can make is not working harder, but starting faster. If you're wondering how this connects to sleepiness and fatigue, here's how. Every idea has a window where it actually feels easy. Most people miss it. There is a specific moment when an idea is new, when it still has energy behind it, when it still feels exciting and light and almost effortless to begin. This window is real, but it's also short. Actually, most people don't act on it. They tell themselves they'll come back to it when they have more time, or more resources, or a cleaner slate, or more energy. And by the time they do return, something has changed. It's not the idea itself. The idea is exactly what it was when they first had it. What changed is the distance from it. What was once close now feels heavier, harder to approach, and somehow less clear than it was before. It honestly makes us feel even more tired. Generally, we would call this losing the spark, but what really happened is we let too much time pass between feeling the pull and following it. This is not about being impulsive. It is about recognizing that momentum is perishable. Starting when something feels natural to you costs you nothing, but trying to restart it when the energy has gone cold can cost you everything. Waiting does not make things easier. It makes them feel bigger, and that makes us feel sleepier and more tired. I'm really good at starting things, but I'm really bad at finishing them. And it's not so much as I don't finish them, it's just it takes me so long to finish them. For example, I started a product back in January. It's already April and I still haven't finished said product. I'm very good at acting on urgency, where I get the ball rolling, I get the idea started, I get it all going, and then when it gets down to actually finishing it, or sit down, make the listing, get the photos, make sure everything is spick and span, I'm very bad at that. Midday fatigue is the worst, and trying to overcome your fatigue is so hard. This is only possible because I have a flexible to-do list system that I created myself. In short layman terms, it's essentially me just switching around to-do lists, which isn't really possible to do in a paper planner. And I love paper planning and my paper planner in general. But this system in a paper planner would look messy, ugly, or even empty. So instead, in my planner, I write at the end of the day and not at the beginning of the day. Essentially, only writing what I completed or accomplished, because that makes me feel good about my day and week as a whole, and not so much as seeing all the scribbles and messiness and trying to switch things around, which is not really possible to do in a paper planner, like I said. This system that I utilize and have created, it requires a phone or a tablet or anything digital, really. But I like to use a phone because everything is then right there in front of me at all times, right at my fingertips. Spear fingers, you know, spear fingers. On my phone, I keep 3 to-do lists. One for today, one for this week, and one that is a general overarching to-do list. Today's to-do list is actually kept very simple, and it just has all the tasks in order. This week's to-do list has every task separated by the days of the week: Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, so on and so forth. The general overarching to-do list is separated by sections: business stuff, shop stuff, personal, content creation, filming, etc. All of my tasks start in the general to-do list, and then I start moving things around between sections or even to-do lists, like the today to-do list or the this week to-do list, for example. This is important. Just because I have a to-do list doesn't mean everything is a priority or needs to get done right away. Some things have more priority than others. Therefore, I move things around accordingly or leave them alone in the general list. Do you know how people say make your to-do list the night before or the Sunday before the week starts and whatnot? This is essentially where I make that projected week. But this flexible to-do list system helps me keep things dynamic and not static, because there's always going to be external life factors, internal life factors, and even hormones that will affect our day and days of the week. It's life. Therefore, a flexible to-do list system is necessary. Say Wednesday rolls around. Today is Wednesday. I take the projected tasks from Wednesday's this week's to-do list and I move them over to the today list. Whatever I don't finish in today's section will be moved back into this week if it needs to get done, or back to the general to-do list, depending on whether it's still a priority or not, or something that I thought I could get done faster in my in-between moment. There is a huge difference between I'm putting it off because it's hard or difficult or new or different versus I'm putting it off because it actually doesn't need to get done right away and I thought I could get it done and over with in one of my in-between moments. But generally, while all this sounds a little bit complicated and like kind of overwhelming and maybe too much to some people, this flexible to-do list system has actually generally kept me very sane while managing fatigue, sleepiness, the flu, and just about anything in regards to my life. While I do have 3 to-do lists, I only keep one on display, and that is my today list. I keep my today list as a widget on my phone, and the first 4 tasks of my today list are the ones that I see. I treat this as my top 4 tasks to get done for the day and focus on these first. You can do something similar in your planner or even in a note section by writing out top 2 today, top 4 today, top 3 today, whatever. I used to do this in my paper planner all the time. I pretty much essentially took an existing system that actually worked for me and translated it into a digital version. This whole concept is essentially just focusing on the very first few steps and not the whole staircase, even if there are bigger tasks on this list. Say I'm done with my day though, and I'm still fatigued, I'm still tired, and the way I combat this is by stretching and then working out. Essentially, just getting in some movement. Upbeat music is a must for me. I cannot listen to anything while I'm working because it's a distraction, it's noisy, and I can't focus. But upbeat music while I'm stretching or about to have a workout just really gets my energy going and puts me in a better mood. I don't jump right away into a workout because usually I find it's kind of like dragging myself out of bed. It's something I don't want to do. I'm not in the mood. I literally have to work my way up into it. And upbeat music helps a ton. If you haven't already, create yourself a playlist on Spotify, Apple Music, wherever you listen to music on, and fill it with songs that are always going to fill you with joy and happiness and give you your energy back. Almost always, by the time I'm done a workout, I'm in a much better mood and I can now take care of myself the rest of the day. I actually used to be one of those people that would wake up really early and get my workout done first thing in the morning, but what I found was when I did this, it would not only make my work day longer, but it actually would make me more fatigued and tired by the end of my work day. Therefore, I didn't actually like this. It didn't help me. It didn't benefit me. Therefore, having a workout at the end of my workday is actually much more beneficial for me than at the very beginning of my day. Plus, I get to sleep a little bit more now. But just because I am a sleepy girl doesn't mean I don't sleep at night or that there's something wrong with me. On the contrary, most nights I sleep 7 to 8 hours, but some nights I actually sleep 10 hours. I'm actually one of those girls or one of those people rather that actually can take a nap for like 10 minutes and actually wake back up without an alarm. And actually I have a funny story about that. Back when me and my now significant other were getting to know each other about 3 years ago at this point, we just got done eating pliables and I was just feeling terribly fatigued. And I asked him, I was like, hey, would you mind if I just took a quick 10-minute power nap right here, right now? And he was, at the time, he was like, sure. And I like knocked out on his lap for 10 minutes and woke back up. He was shocked about it, but now he's just like, that's just your natural state of being. And it truly is. But after that 10-minute nap, I was good. I was ready to keep going. For whatever reason, I'm just a sleepy girl. But whenever I need to be up and out and do stuff, trust me, I'm up, especially on snowboarding days. There are many times where I only get like 4 to 6 hours of sleep on snowboarding days, and I do not feel that tiredness or fatigued the entire time I'm riding, and I absolutely love it. And no. I don't drink coffee. I don't drink any sort of caffeine, no Red Bulls, no energy drinks, no matcha, no black tea, nothing. It's just all natural energy here. I just embrace my natural energy as it flows, simply put. So yeah, while I am a sleepy girl, I just have ways that help me combat that fatigue and sleepiness. Getting 8 hours of sleep helps, exercise helps, supplements help, getting out into the sun helps, taking walks helps. It's just so much harder to do when you're trying to run a business and almost always are sedentary inside, or even in a 9-to-5 and sedentary in that. Some days are better than others. Our hormones, external life factors, and internal life factors make our bodies and our energy dynamic and not static. But no, I don't think there's anything wrong with me. I just love being cozy in bed and sleeping. And if you do too, I hope this video helped you learn how to manage and combat your sleepiness and fatigue so you can run your business. If you made it this far, thank you for watching. See you in the next one. Toodaloo!